exactly 49 years ago. And we're looking at a view of the Blue Eyed Maid Pub and Chapel Court on Borough High Street, Southwark. Number 173 is a 4-story corner building, occupied by the Blue Eyed Maid, with a public house sign hanging from the first floor, and the Watney's Brewery barrel above. The public house is believed to have existed since 1613. In 1841, the landlord of the Blue Maid was James Mantle, who lived there with his wife and 2 of his children. The public house closed in 2020. Blue Maid Court is mentioned in Surrey Quarter Sessions from 1738, and is now Chapel Court, named after a chapel that occupied the site. The rear of the passageway was damaged by bombing in World War II, which destroyed the old chapel and several other buildings. See this map showing Chapel Court in the latter 18th century. Now, join me back in the present for a little tour of this historic place. Then after that, a little Charles Dickens history, and his book Little Dorrit, in which the Blue Maid Pub is featured.
And there we are, exactly the same view, 49 years after the original photo was taken. It's not often that you can match them up pretty much that well. The Blue Eyed Maid Pub, a now closed London pub, closed in 2020. The COVID dealt with this one, unfortunately. It was originally called the Blue Maid, and there's been a pub on this site since the 1640s. The little court, which is called Chapel Court, is named after a chapel that was original at the end there, that's been destroyed in the Second World War. But it was originally called Blue Maid Court. Now the Blue Maid Pub, you may recognise the name if you're a Dickens fan, because it appears in Charles Dickens' novel Little Dorrit. So there's a good bit of history in this one. As I say, it's another London pub that's closed down, and a lost London church at the end of it, and a bit of Charles Dickens history thrown in for good measure. It's going to pause you, and over we go. Point you up a minute because there's people there. The Blue Eyed Maid, as I say, originally called the Blue Maid, Chapel Court, London SE1. And this court was originally called Blue Maid Court, but it's now called Chapel Court because there was originally a chapel at the end of it, but that's gone now. And this lovely little building here, this sort of fake Tudoresque one, is 1980s, with its lovely PVC windows and stuff, and fake Tudor beams, which are actually reclaimed beams, I found out by reading online. But yeah, it's 1980s. The chapel was originally at the end. That got blown up in the Second World War. This is the Diocese of Southwark. This is the little chapel that's there nowadays. You see, at first glance, you think, oh, is that old? Then when you cross over and see the PVC windows, and more importantly, when you look online, you think, oh, no, it's not old. It's 1980s. But yeah, this lot up the end here was all bombed in the Second World War, and there was originally a church just there, but that got bombed. And as I said, it was originally called Blue Maid Court, after the Blue Maid Pub. The Blue Maid Pub was then rebuilt in Victorian times, then became known as the Blue Eyed Maid. That's now closed down as of 2020. And then obviously when they built the Blue Maid, they renamed the court, obviously after the Second World War. But yeah, this is one of our London's little oldest streets, or courts, or alleys. It leads off of Borough High Street, which is one of London's oldest streets, one of the oldest, leading to London Bridge. So that's an important one in itself. And there's been a lot of history and twins and goings on this one. Quite a few murders happened in this street, in this little alley, if you want to call it, or a court, because it was a bit of a salubrious one back in the day, when the old pubs and the docks and the warehouses and everything were here. You would not want to be walking casually down it like I am now. So yeah, quite a few murders, and it appears in the Southwark assizes back as the 1730s and things like that as Blue Maid Court. But as I say, it later got the name change to Chapel Court. And this, sadly, is one of the closed down, I won't say lost pubs of London. Hopefully it'll reopen. But yeah, this one was closed down by the COVID pandemic, and the whole thing of it is empty. It's very well sealed up, and it is alarmed from what I have been told. So if you wish to try your luck at it, you can. But one of the old Victorian gin palace type pubs, look, gives you just a little hint of its grandeur. That gives you just a little hint of its grandeur. Press the wrong button. Let's take a picture of that. Shows that too many people coming along. Yeah, AG&C to let. I'll photograph that because you never know. Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you all found that one interesting. Up there used to be a barrel, a sign for the pub and a barrel. That's gone now. Anyway, and that was Blue Maid Court, later Chapel Court, and a little bit of history. Hope you all enjoyed that one. Thanks for watching.
Now, back to Dickens and the books that link him and his characters to the Blue Maid Pub. Charles Dickens was very unique in that he would not only feature many of these dodgy London areas in his books, but would actually visit them in person. And that is the case with the old Blue Eyed Maid Pub and Charles Dickens' Little Dorrit in Southwark. Little Dorrit is a novel by Charles Dickens originally published in serial form between 1855 and 1857. The story features Amy Dorrit, youngest child of her family, born and raised in the Marshalsea prison for debtors in London. Arthur Clenham encounters her after returning home from a 20-year absence, ready to begin his life anew. Blue Eyed Maid Southwark. Readers of Little Dorrit will remember that it was at this inn that Arthur Clenham alighted one dismal Sunday evening after journeying from Marseille to Dover, from which town he took the coach to the Blue Eyed Maid in Southwark. A Tale of Two Cities is an historical novel published in 1859 by Charles Dickens, set in London and Paris before and during the French Revolution. The novel tells the story of the French Dr. Manette, his 18-year-long imprisonment in the Bastille in Paris, and his release to live in London with his daughter Lucy, whom he had never met. The story is set against the conditions that led up to the French Revolution and the Reign of Terror. And the Blue Eyed Maid Pub also features in this Dickens book too. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed the video.